What if I told you that a low self-esteem might not be as easily recognized as you think it is? There are 9 surprising signs of low self-esteem you might have never considered. The last one nobody ever talks about, and yet it's a dead giveaway. Ready to face the truth about your self-esteem, or will you just click away? 1. Being overly superstitious. I am not talking an occasional bad omen. I mean, they constantly rely on rituals, superstitions, or magical beliefs to control their environment or the outcome of events. This behavior can stem from a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy or powerlessness. When someone has low self-esteem, they might feel they lack control over their life or are not capable enough to influence outcomes through their abilities. As a result, they turn to superstition or magic as a way of gaining some semblance of control. This reliance on superstition can also serve as a protective mechanism. If things go wrong, it's not because of their inadequacies, but because they didn't follow the ritual or superstition correctly. It externalizes the blame and failure, which for someone with low self-esteem can be easier to accept than internalizing the fault. 2. Being an overachiever. While dating, they meticulously plan every aspect, from texts to dates themselves. This isn't about genuine connection. It's a showcase, driven by a need to impress. Deep down, they might feel they are not good enough as they are, so they put on a flawless facade. Their downtime is not their downtime. They are never just relaxing, because they need to work on themselves. This relentless push to learn, to consume intellectual content, isn't about growth. They are driven by a fear of falling behind or not being enough. They are unable to value themselves without constant achievement. Every post on their social media is a performance. Each photo, each update is a calculated move to project an image of perpetual success. This intense curation, the need to always appear on top, is their way of seeking validation. 3. Being a compulsive liar. When someone routinely embellishes stories about their life, making up successes or experiences that never happened. For example, they might claim to have a high-paying job, an impressive educational background, or unique talents they don't actually possess. These lies are not told with malicious intent, but rather stem from a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy. It's as if they're creating a more exciting, successful alter ego, because they believe their actual self isn't worthy of acceptance or love. 4. Being afraid of intimacy. Intimacy requires vulnerability. If you have low self-esteem, you might fear that revealing your true self will lead to rejection or judgment. You might believe you're not worthy of love or affection, or that you have little to offer in a relationship. This belief can lead you to avoid intimacy, to protect yourself from being seen as inadequate or unworthy. Sometimes low self-esteem and fear of intimacy stem from past experiences. If you've been rejected or hurt in past relationships, you might develop a protective mechanism to avoid getting close to someone again. This avoidance is often rooted in an internalized belief that you're not good enough. Intimacy means giving up a certain level of control and opening up to someone else's influence. If you have low self-esteem, you might fear losing control or being manipulated or harmed in some way. This fear can lead you to keep others at arm's length. People with low self-esteem sometimes sabotage relationships as they get more intimate. Subconsciously, they might feel they don't deserve happiness or love, leading them to push others away as a means of self-protection. 5. Packed schedule all the time. They fill every minute of their day with activities, work, social engagements, or even mundane tasks. They feel a sense of unease or guilt when they are not doing something productive. The underlying belief is that their worth is tied to how much they do or achieve. This constant activity becomes a way to validate their existence and worth. This behavior is also a distraction mechanism. By staying perpetually busy, they avoid confronting deeper feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness. There's no time to reflect on personal issues or insecurities when you're always on the go. The downside of this behavior is clear: burnout, stress, and potentially missing out on a fulfilling personal life. 6. Being an excessive gift giver. This behavior goes beyond typical generosity or kindness. It's a pattern of feeling the need to constantly give or do something for others in order to be liked, accepted, or valued. Here's how it might manifest. You might always be the one to pick up the tab at restaurants, give lavish gifts on regular occasions, or constantly offer your time and resources to help others, even when it's inconvenient or detrimental to your own well-being. People who do this might struggle to say no to requests for help, fearing that setting boundaries will result in rejection or a loss of affection. The underlying issue here is a belief that one's worth is tied to how useful or giving they are. It's a way of compensating for feelings of inadequacy, a thought process along the lines of, if I'm not constantly giving or doing something for someone, why would they want to be around me? This excessive need to please others prevents genuine connections, as relationships become based more on what one can give rather than who they are. 7. Being always late. For some people, chronic lateness can be a subconscious way of asserting control or gaining attention. Deep down, they might feel unnoticed or undervalued, and being late becomes a way to make their presence felt. It's as if their internal logic is, if I'm late, people will notice me and I'll feel more important or significant. This behavior often stems from a place of low self-esteem. There's an underlying belief that they're not good enough or worthy of attention unless they do something to stand out, even if it's negative like being late. Additionally, chronic lateness can also be a form of self-sabotage. If someone subconsciously believes they don't deserve success or happiness, they might sabotage their own efforts, like being punctual, to align with their internal narrative of not being good enough. Self-deprecating humor. This isn't just about cracking a joke at one's own expense now and then. It's a consistent pattern where one frequently makes themselves the butt of the joke, often in a way that highlights their flaws or failures. On the surface, it might look like someone is just being funny or lighthearted, but beneath that, there's often a deeper issue. This behavior can stem from a belief that they're not good enough and that others will see this too, so they use humor as a defense mechanism. It becomes a way to control how others perceive them and to handle feelings of inadequacy. While it might seem harmless, constant self-deprecation can reinforce negative self-perceptions. It can also affect how others view and treat them, sometimes leading to a lack of respect or being taken less seriously. 9. You wear old clothes at home. Wearing old ratty clothes at home thinking no one will see anyway? Those pants, it's been years since they were presentable, 5 holes and all, but they are so comfy. Throwing them out feels like a sacrilege. This behavior could be a sign of low self-esteem and scarcity mentality. You might be feeling unworthy of nice, new things. This mindset reinforces a belief that you don't deserve better unless others see it or validate it. It's more than just saving money or your sense of comfort. It reflects how you perceive your worth in private. Also, ladies, let's talk undergarments. Are you saving your fancy lingerie for that special date? Wearing beautiful things should be for you most and foremost. It's about loving yourself enough to enjoy the good stuff every day. Your self-worth isn't a dress-up game for someone else's benefit. If you have a high self-esteem, you don't need special audience to feel fabulous. This isn't vanity, it's self-love. I read every comment and I want to hear from you. Which part of this video spoke to you the most? Your feedback drives this channel, so let's hear it.